Suges, do you want to introduce your father here? who's the strange, handsome man sitting next to you there?
This is my dad, Danny Suges. Dad, you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
I will. And I won't talk about how Austin ended your last podcast. Hopefully your listeners heard that last one and understand what that was.
Understand what the
If not,
the
they'll
birds
go
and the
back-
bees.
If not, they'll
Yeah.
go back and watch it.
If not,
No,
we
but I'll
have
give you
bigger problems.
Yeah, I'll give you a little history, just, about, me and baseball. But I played baseball at Boswell High School in Fort Worth. And coming out of high school, I did sign with UNLV, the Running Rebs, which our baseball team is called the Hustling Rebs, in 1984. So that's where I played my first year of college there.
Oh, can you talk about the Cub story for everybody?
Which Cub story?
Scout.
Oh, God, yeah. So we can even before a few years before that, probably before I signed, that either my junior year or maybe even that summer of my senior year, my mom said, "Hey, I got a phone call from a Cub Scout." And I told him, "Hey, you're not interested. He doesn't do the Cub Scouts." And I was like, "Mom, wait a second. That was a
She thought it was the Cub
Chicago
Scout.
Cub Scout." I said, "You didn't take
what
the
troop
call?"
number?
No.
What troop number?
Can you believe that?
Oh my
Oh,
god!
man. I was so disappointed. I was like, "You got to be kidding me." Sure would have been nice to be able to get his name and call him back and tell
Yeah,
him
back
where
then
I
there
was.
wasn't like, it didn't show up on your phone, the
No.
number.
Isn't that crazy?
We didn't have phones back then. It was all telegrams.
Yes, they just
You
marked
guys the
Danny
ones that
right
sell
off
the
list.
cookies?
So that's funny. All right, show and tell. Jowers, I did a little show and tell for you. I know, you're probably, one of the smartest ones on this podcast.
First time I've ever heard it, but I love
There's
it.
Danny. There's old Babe
Whoa.
Ruth.
That's me, 1984 at UNLV, Nevada, Las Vegas. And hopefully you guys all know this guy, but Matt Williams was our shortstop. And I took this to the All-Star game when he played down in Arlington Stadium or the Globe Life. And that's Matty's signature right there.
That's
So it's like
awesome.
Suges. I brought him a couple things to sign. I even brought him to a game when he was coaching for when Austin was little and got a couple baseballs up here. But it was pretty cool, actually
Playing with him.
playing with a guy that ended up being, in the majors and playing on World Series teams. He ended up
Yeah.
playing at San Francisco, Cleveland, and Arizona. And he finally won a World Series at Arizona, the Diamondbacks, that one year. So that was cool.
Could he
Yeah,
possibly be in the Hall?
That
of
was
Fame?
definitely-
2001, right?
I
That was
think
versus Yankees.
Yeah, that it was versus the Yankees. Yeah, he won't make the Hall of Fame because
That's
he's
where
on the,
Luis
he's on the
Gonzalez
Mitchell
home
report
run.
where all these guys took
We don't-
steroids.
Yeah.
We don't talk about the 2001 World
as
Series
he
in this
should.
club.
As he should.
So,
2001 Luis Gonzalez. man.
So
But
Danny,
then-
what position did you play in college?
You told me
Okay.
you went to
Okay,
TSU.
at coming out of high school, I was third base, hot corner, of course, and then when I got to UNLV, our dog's barking. Can you hear him?
It's finally not Brennan's dog.
The one time.
Some of my neighbors probably knocking on the door asking me, how come I wasn't at practice tonight? He was wanting me to help coach his son's baseball team.
I got better things to do.
Yeah, I gotta
Exactly.
be on the pod with the boys.
I gotta talk to all 20 listeners.
Yes, let me tell you. But here's what they did, though. We had a senior at third base, Jim Pace, and then you had Matt Williams at short, you had Mosier at second, and you had some incoming kids that already played and freshmen. So immediately they put me in the outfield. So we want you to learn left field. And this is one of my coaching tools when I talk to kids too, like when I was coaching in Coppell, the high school kids. If you got a stud hitter and you want to excel in college, you don't always get to play your infield position. So you better understand how to catch a fly ball in the outfield. And perfect example of that is Tyler Jones, who played at Air Force. I put him in the outfield in the fall, his senior year. Sure enough, he goes to the Air Force Academy and they move him to left because he couldn't play at third because somebody else was, either a junior or senior. And he ended up being all conference hitting home runs out there. So just keep that in mind whenever you're coaching, whether it's, 10, 12, 15-year-old or high school or even college kids, sometimes if you're a good hitter, they're going to find a place for you, and
Yeah,
that's
I
kind of
would-
what
I would say
But
on
I
my
was.
11U team I coach, our best hitters are all outfielders. They all play outfield.
that's good, because you got 3 positions that you can play. If you're a third baseman, you got 1, I learned how to play middle infield basically in college. And we didn't have, here's the thing, when we played and grew up and played, flies and skinners and did a bunch of stuff, that you guys never even heard of, y'all probably played some pepper and all that, but that's how we got better. We played games where we'd actually toss the ball up and fungo to each other and hit the ball. So our hand-eye coordination, that's how we ended up being better hitters. I don't see a lot of kids doing that. Matter of fact, a lot of them don't even like hitting off tees right now. And I tell like when Austin was a little kid, I would tell him, Austin, you're gonna hit off the tee, you're gonna hit off the tee. And he was like, I don't like doing that. I want you to pitch to me. So I made it a point, y'all are gonna laugh at this, but we had like the Texas Rangers always host do like an event for season ticket holders and people that want to come before the season starts, and they'll have all their players there. I made Austin go up to one of them and ask him if he still hits off the tee. And they said every day, the major leaguer guys, they hit off the tee. So
When I heard it from a major leaguer instead of
Yeah.
my dad, I was like,
he kind of
shit. Guess I better get on the tee.
he got the message,
But yeah, so
How'd
you
that work for you, Austin?
stand
He
out.
was hitting dingers in Salinas.
Hey, I'll give him credit for this, guys. The only game I missed, I'm at a sales meeting. Austin hits one off that slime scoreboard. God, dog it. I got on video, but I wasn't there.
So you played at UNLV and then you transferred to
North Texas and Denton. Yeah, my brother was going to school there in Denton. He was he played golf at Tech. So where's Eric? Eric, there you are, buddy. My brother was a Red Raider. He played golf out there, and then he transferred to Tech, from Tech to North Texas so he could get his degree, because you know how Tech is, party school. He needed to get out of there. So he got his degree there at North Texas. Said, dude, why don't you just, move here, stay with me in an apartment. You can play at North Texas. You'll play right away. And so I did. I ended up transferring in 1985 in the spring. I got to play, a lot of games, but it was in the outfield because they had a third baseman already there. And matter of fact, even hit a grand slam and an RBI sack fly against Lamar because they were in our conference. We were Southland Conference. So I had 5 RBIs as a freshman. I still think of that and tell Austin and anybody that
he one-ups me with everything.
That I got 5 RBIs as a freshman. That's got to be a record. There ain't no freshman ever at North Texas to hit 5 RBIs in a game. They don't keep records anymore.
Yeah,
They
I was
don't
gonna
have
say,
them.
I was gonna say it certainly won't be broken anytime soon.
No, it won't.
Tell everybody what
I,
happened.
Yeah,
I would
so-
put that right up there with, Cy Young 500 wins, like Nolan Ryan, 5,700 strikeouts. Danny Suges 5 RBIs as a freshman.
I
Just
would say
never,
that's
never
almost
going to
as
be
impressive.
broken.
I'll
Never
take
gonna
it.
be-
That's almost
gotta
as
be on
impressive
our-
as Clayton Kershaw's almost perfect game the other day. It's
Yeah.
up there with that.
That's
Single
gotta
game
be on our.
performances.
That's gotta be on our turned on statistics right there.
What's
Yeah, I
the-
want to
what's
see
the-
it flash up there.
Danny's-
I'll flash it up there. 5 RBIs versus Lamar.
What's the
Y'all are
game
gonna laugh at
score?
this. Okay, now we'll start talking some baseball. Get off of me for a little bit. But Lamar, when we played them, they had a guy named, I think his name was Gerald Clark. Look him up. He played for the Padres. Dude, he went 11 for 13 in what would that be, a 3-game series?
Yeah.
We walked him with the bases loaded twice, not once, twice. So when you saw
Corey Seager.
yeah, when Seager got
Seager,
walked,
Seager.
it brought back memories because I remember Gerald Clark for Lamar. He had hit that plate, and he would just, he was just a hitter that could just smash, and he hit a couple home runs and doubles.
Tell me about your old LSU.
All right, LSU. Where's my Brennan? Where's Brennan?
Gotta
There
talk
he
about
is.
LSU.
All right, Brennan.
Come on now.
Well,
Come on now.
Brennan, the LSU trip was, man, it was the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let
This
me
is
tell
while you were playing at North Texas or
North
UNLV?
Texas, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, North Texas. Here's the deal. At UNLV, I left after my fall season. So in the fall season, we actually played some games on the road at Arizona State. We played against Utah, and then we played a bunch of either JUCOs like Yavapai, and played a couple in California. And then you did your inter squad.
Did you play Iona?
Apple pie?
Yavapai. It's somewhere in Arizona. Look it up. And then St. Louis Obispo, we played them. But when Austin was telling you about Barry Bonds in '84, we played them in the fall at Arizona State. It's pretty cool. We got to fly there. We played them on a Saturday, and then I think we might have played them on a Sunday too. But I got to watch Florida State play Arizona State in football that night after we played. That was pretty cool. So we did that. But Bonds, he didn't play in the fall with us. That was the year he was kind of still coming off an injury. And then '85 is when they made it to the College World Series. But we
Yeah,
kinda
actually,
beefed up.
I was in Phoenix a couple weeks ago and got to go see a game at Arizona State. They were playing.
Okay.
They were playing San Francisco the day that their head coach got taken out for the
booted.
season.
Oh wow. Well, let me do my little.
There's Dan the man.
That's me on deck.
I've seen this picture a few times.
Well, wait, Travis, did you see any of those palm trees when you were there?
No, it's quite. I did actually. Yeah, they've made up the. Have you been back recently to Arizona State? Just
No, it's been a while.
it's really built up in the back. Like there's a big artificial park and stuff.
And then here's me getting out. Travis, where's Jowers? TJ,
You don't
I
have to say that. It's
swear-
a home run shot in the picture, right?
well, if you look at that, look at the first base coach. Looks like he's arguing with the umpire. I always say I beat it out, and I think they threw me out or something.
Nice.
Yeah, LSU.
Oh,
Come on.
LSU. Let's get to LSU.
The good, the bad,
Good,
the
the bad.
ugly.
Okay. Where's
Let's
Brennan?
hear it.
Brennan. Do not eat on the other side of the tracks at a Burger King. I'll never eat at Burger King ever in my life because of your LSU Baton Rouge.
Well, that's probably because they poisoned it.
They
I mean,
did.
it was the 80s. They
Hey,
weren't
oh,
very
it was
good.
so bad.
Putting paint thinner in that shit.
Yeah.
Oh my
But-
God.
Yeah.
So, but really, I'm in, I'm starting in left field, and we took BP, and I'm like, dude, I'm not feeling good. I go, surely, I'm going to make it through this game though. So after the second inning, coach looked at me and goes, Suges, something's wrong with you. You're all white. I go, I know. I go, coach, something's bad. So they ended up taking me out of the game, took me to the infirmary, and I had food poisoning. Oh my gosh. It
Go
sucked.
Tigers.
I swear to
it
you,
sucked so bad.
I've never ate Burger King
Nope.
because of him. He's never taken me to a Burger King drive-thru. Ever.
I was hoping that was going to end
Hey,
up like those videos you see of the heat stroke pictures, just like far from behind the mat.
Oh,
Like,
that-
nobody's going to
yeah, that
drop
was
one,
him.
take a shit all
Oh,
over
that
the
home
field.
plate umpire
well-
that just walked in front and towards the pitcher's mound and just puked everywhere.
It was bad. Well, I actually, before I left, when they were taking me to the infirmary, and I had my batting glove on and just stuck it in the back of my throat to try to throw that hamburger up or whatever it was. So they take me to the infirmary. So I'm in there for about
It was a
4
Whopper.
hours. Oh, it was a Whopper. It was a bad Whopper. So I missed the rest of that game, and then we have a doubleheader the next day. And coach wasn't going to let me play the first game, but I begged him. I'm saying, it's LSU. And Brennan, it was Allen Box Stadium, right? Isn't that what it was? They had a McDonald's sign and said, like the McDonald's sign if you hit a home run, and everybody got some type of a McDonald's coupon. And Joey Bell was their best hitter back then, who played, I think, Eric, you knew
The
that,
Indians.
right? Is it
Yeah,
Eric
played
who
for the
said
Indians.
that? Yeah.
Eric and Benji.
And Benji, you got the card, Benji?
Yes, sir.
Dude,
It
Albert
says
Bell.
Joey
he-
Bell on it.
Joey Bell became Albert Bell, and that's
I'll
pretty
grab it
wild
real
knowing
quick.
that you played against him. But that was pretty cool.
What about your?
But my good is I got to play the second. Yeah, it's a game. Got a hit, and the ugly was getting sick, and the bad guys. This is what sucks. A third baseman playing right field at LSU. What's going to happen with the bases loaded and a pop fly to the right fielder?
Here it is.
He's gonna muff it.
I'm going to drop it. Oh, there he is. That's him, Joey Bell.
Oh my
You
God.
muffed it.
Dude, it hit right in the palm of my glove and fell out. And I had to
Did
pick
it-
it up and throw it to second base.
Tell 'em
I was
about-
so
tell 'em about-
embarrassed.
Okay, tell 'em about
Did they
your-
have the student section over there back then?
Oh, dude, it was just mesmerizing when coming from North Texas, where you have no fans, to go into there. Now
Yeah.
we did play at Texas and we played at Arkansas, but LSU was intimidating. I'll give you that. But the coolest part, guys, was cool is the little kids would gather around our dugout and always ask for a ball. and then we toss them a ball so they could play, you know,
That's
by,
what baseball's all about.
underneath the stands. But what was really cool is they'd come back and ask us for our autograph. They say, "Hey, will you sign our ball? Will you sign that ball?" You know, so then all the guys started giving them away and signing them. We went home with half a bucket for the.
And then you all got suspended by the NCAA.
We all gave them away.
Dude, they didn't have that. They didn't care back then.
This is before the big NIL rules.
about you?
Yeah.
What are
Oh,
three
do you
errors
want
in
me
one
to?
game?
Where's
The errors.
okay? So Austin's
Come on.
already wanted to talk
I'm
about
calling him out.
the bad stuff. Okay,
But then, come on.
no, it gets better. Even at Baylor, it does good. All right. Early in the year, we'd always play like either Baylor because they were close, or we'd go down to Southwestern and play at Georgetown. And then after that, we'd go play Houston or we'd go play Rice, you know, kind of those first 2 weeks, that'd be our road trip. With Baylor, that opening weekend, we were playing and I was at third base. Probably my junior year. I don't think it was my senior year, probably my junior year. Don't have any stats to really, you know, look them all up. It's what's, you know, sucks about North Texas dropping the program back in '88 after I graduated. But I made 3 errors in 1 inning. His either the first or second inning at third. Now,
One inning.
but you got to listen to how the errors were. Okay. There was a hard ground.
The
how-
Alec Bohm
Alec
game.
Bohm, yeah.
yeah,
oh, I
that's an Alec
guess.
Bohm game.
a
But
hard ground ball to me, and I kind of, you know, played it off, you know, the chest, picked it up, and didn't get him, so they gave me an error. Next one was a slow roller, picked it up, tried to get him out. What did I do? Throw it by the first baseman, so that's an error because he goes to second. All right,
Danny's down bad.
and then another one right down the line. And I try to backhand it instead of moving my feet to get in front of it. And of course, the crowd was all over me at that game. They were ragging me, saying, you know, I was their best player, and you know, they need you're a butcher out there. So coach calls timeout, and he comes to the mound. I remember this vividly. He tells the pitcher, he goes, "Dude, throw a effing strike and strike this guy out. Suges can't freaking catch a ball over there or throw it." I'm like, "Shit, you're calling me out." So sure enough, he throws a strike, strikes the guy out, the next guy. So the next inning, I come to bat, and the bases are loaded. We're losing 5-2. I hit a grand slam to put us up 6-5.
That's what's
Dude.
up.
I was-
That's what's up.
you wanna
That's
talk
how you
about it.
rebound. That's how you
Yes.
rebound.
Oh,
You want to talk about a peacock running out to third base, you know, shaking your tail feathers at that crowd? Oh, I was
Yeah, you
loving
just had to
it.
give him a chance. That's all it was.
It's one of those things.
He was trying to get their
Ball,
hopes up.
ball
Yeah.
don't lie.
Exactly.
The
But we
baseball
end up-
gods know.
yeah,
Baseball's just crazy.
we lost. We ended up losing 8-6 in that.
So it sounds like you have multiple records at UNT now. 5 RBIs in 1 game, and then most
3
errors in an
errors.
inning.
3 years. Yeah, there you go. Appreciate that, Jow. Thank you. Hey, but I do want to bring y'all another. Do you see that, Baylor?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get him
You
on the
have to
podcast.
tell. You have to tell our listeners because some of it we don't
Okay.
generate a lot of YouTube views.
This is a Baylor baseball letter from the head coach of Baylor, and his name was Steve Smith. He was the coach there for 20 years. So I'm just going to read it real fast because some of you guys are coaching youth baseball. And before I coached Austin in actual, we called it there at Coppell, instead of, you know, you have the select team instead of rec. What did we have that? It was just called, what was that, Austin? You remember?
What, select?
Yeah, you remember this, you know, the select team, we called it
Yeah,
travel
yeah.
ball. Ours was just
Yeah.
the travel teams.
yeah.
We didn't have select like it was back then. So I wanted the best 11 or 12 players at that age group. So they played when they were 6, 7, 8, 9. They had to play basically like rec. And then after that, you could form and take the best 10 or 11 players. And it was Coppell's travel team.
So they didn't know who to have is the
The
head
coach.
coach. So listen to what Danny does.
So you have to go to an interview with the Coppell Baseball Association's president and the board members, and you have to tell them why you should be the travel coach and why some of the other kids' dads, you know, why you're a better head coach than they are. So what do? You sell yourself, right, guys? That's what you do in an interview.
Well, listen, there's only one thing. I'm the best there ever was. So.
Plain and simple.
Plain and simple. I wake up every
Well-
morning, piss excellence.
Well, I called my buddy Steve Smith, who I'd known for years and years and years, who watched me play at A&M whenever I played against A&M because he was assistant coach, watched me play. When
And he was
at
like the
Baylor.
current Baylor head coach at the time.
Yeah. So real quick. So it's Mr. Andy Guest, President, Coppell Baseball Association. Dear Mr. Guest, please accept this letter of recommendation for Danny Suges for head coaching position in the Coppell Baseball Association. I've known Danny for 20 years, since his days at high school player at Boswell High School in Fort Worth to UNLV and to the University of North Texas. He has both the knowledge of the game and the character of work with young people, and I believe you would find him to be exceptional as a coach in your league. Thank you for the service you are providing to the young players in your community and for your due diligence in the process of selecting these whom they work. If I can ever be of assistance, please do not hesitate to call me. Thank you in advance for consideration of Danny. Best wishes, Steve Smith, head baseball coach, Baylor University.
like,
That's
has-
amazing. That's
It
amazing.
has their
That's so
letterhead
sweet.
on it.
That's
I
so
swear,
sweet.
I swear to you guys, when I walked into that interview, they picked that letter up and looked at it and showed it to me, and they go, you already got the job.
So,
we
You're
didn't
in.
have to interview.
follow-up question to get in the job. What was it like having to cut your own son from the team?
That was a
He didn't cut me.
that was one that that was a requirement. Your son still had to play on the team.
Oh, so it was built in, like the loophole was.
Yeah. So, Austin,
So-
that's how Austin got to play.
I could be
Okay.
Kevin Biggio batting 0.78 and still be on the team.
Talk about batting average. This is a good segue.
Well,
okay, let's get to
At
something
least,
else.
at least you weren't. What's Mike Bianca's son that didn't want to play at Ole Miss?
You talking about Drew?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, at least you weren't
The
that.
He
bench
didn't even want to
rider?
play with his own dad.
Oh,
I
really?
I want to
Wow.
request a transfer.
Yeah, how crazy is that? Y'all got any other questions?
Wait. Hold on. I got a couple. I got some that's gonna be funny too. Okay. All right. Speaking of batting averages, Austin just said. All right. So we're playing. Houston. All right. After we'd played either Baylor or Southwestern, that 85, 86, or 87 season, probably 87. And our first baseman in that first series, he goes over. So you know how it is early in the season, trying to get your batting average. You're gonna experience a couple games where you don't get many hits. So the PA announcer announces our first batter and says his name and says where he's batting.
Oh,
Well, then
no.
they come to Mike Thompson. He was a big first baseman, DH or first base. They go, and now batting third, playing first base, Mike Thompson. He's batting 0-0-0.
Did he possibly get a hit that at bat? There's no
Oh my
way. There's no
God.
way.
I think he wanted to crawl in a hole. So guess what? His nickname was Zero the rest of his life. There's
Right.
zero.
Well, I'm sure glad they didn't do that at Salina, because that would have been real
Oh
reminiscent.
boy.
It'd have been like, this guy has been on varsity for a
That's
year and he hasn't
frustrating.
touched the field, so
Oh yeah.
let's give him a
Oh.
shot.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got a couple of, I got at least one question, hopefully two. A lot of
Okay.
people like in the majors and in college, you get to watch and see. It's always, as a pitcher, I enjoy trying to figure out like what a pitcher is trying to do to attack a hitter, and then what a hitter's approach is at the plate. Because some hitters, adjust pitcher to pitcher, at bat to at bat, but some hitters have like an approach that they carry through every at bat, every season, every game of every season. When you were at the plate, did you have like a different approach going into every bat depending on the hitter and what he was throwing and what he was really equipped with? Or did you like have one pitch that you were looking for and were patient until you saw it?
Well, back when we played, we didn't have all this information that you guys have.
Right.
So you didn't have any stats on any of the pitchers you were playing. You basically had to either, kind of watch them warm up and then keep your eye on it, as you're coming to the on deck circle, or you'd learn something from your next at bat, but
And your teammates.
and your
too.
teammates, you would
That
kind of
right.
ask them, but just depends on, what they were throwing. And if you were a good fastball hitter, I was a good fastball hitter inside. I would want them to challenge me inside because I knew I could pull the ball and I could hit it, between short and third, or I could get it to the wall. The low and outside, either curveball or something off the plate, 2 or 3 balls, those are the pitches that, always got me. So, and this is what a lot of kids don't do, like back when we played. When we played, we would shorten up on 2 strikes. So we'd either choke up or we would get up on the plate a little bit more, or we'd widen our feet. And basically, I hardly ever struck out. So I try to at least, put good contact on the ball, whether that moved a runner or gave me a chance, at least trying to get to first base versus these guys now. Everybody wants to get paid millions of bucks, millions of dollars. I think if you guys will ever watch Pete Rose or Rod Carew, any of those guys, watch even Tony Gwynn, they weren't just slap hitters like everybody thinks, but they deep in account, they were making sure that, hey, they were going to go the other way with the ball, or they're going to try to take it up the middle, or even just, a little flare, because they wanted to get on base any way they could. That's kind of our approach, what we did, because we didn't have
Joey Gallo.
yeah, we didn't have the Canseco's and the McGuires, Sosa and Bonds and all that, and once they got to that major league level, all they want to do was just, it was all about
Home run.
launch angle and hitting home runs. So hopefully you guys, when you're teaching these young kids, tell them, hey guys, it's not always about, trying to hit home runs. Now I did tell Austin, Jowers and Travis, this when you're playing at Salina, and I know your coach didn't agree to this, but try to hit gappers and try to hit it to the outfield because there's more space out there. Ground balls, they're going to eat it up and throw you out. So that's probably why Austin, probably his swing and his approach was a lot different than mine was, because he was wanting to try to hit gappers and, if he could hit a home run, because ground balls wasn't going to do anything, at that level. Y'all know that, line drives are going to do something. But let me tell you about what I would do, and y'all might laugh at this, but it was something every now and then that would actually work for me. If I knew a pitcher couldn't throw the ball, like more than 92, 94 miles an hour. And back then, the guys that I played against that could throw 94, 95, there was a guy named Swindell who played at UT, Greg Swindell. He's on the actual, cast. What do you call that? The broadcast. Played against him in a summer ball league, went 2 for 4 off of him. They beat us 8-0. He's a lefty. He threw hard. And then a guy named Jack Armstrong at OU, he threw hard. He threw about 95. Only batted off him once and lined out to right. It's only probably one of the only hits I always, I was a pull hitter and hit it. That's how late I was on it. But on a lefty who couldn't throw.
Travis.
Yeah, Travis. If I were batting against you, Travis, here's what I would probably do. And guys, I'm telling you, this works sometimes. You get up in the box, you kind of get your regular stance, kind of about midway where the actual plate is. And right when you're fixing to take signals, I scoot up all the way to the front of the box. What do you think that catcher's going to do? He's going to try to throw one by
Throw a
me.
fastball, yeah.
He's going to try to throw a fastball. So you know what?
Danny knew it's coming.
I didn't care where it was. I was going to freaking hit that because I didn't want that crafty left-hander throwing his junk crap and making me try to have to just flare one or foul one off. And he wasn't going to give in to me. But I knew that first pitch, he might give in to me, thinking, okay, that catcher saw me move up. He's going to try to throw a fastball. So it's something little like that. Sometimes, you can do in a game. But let me also give you one other thing on first base, how I stole some bases. Sometimes, first movement on a lefty. Where did
Travis,
where are you at, Travis? Okay,
Aren't
there
we
you
all,
are.
aren't we all on the screen?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, I can barely see y'all up
Okay.
there at the top. Y'all are,
Danny needs his glasses
yeah.
on.
So you're up there on the right. Okay. As a lefty, you can teach some kids. They don't have to get a huge lead on a lefty. Okay. If you're watching and seeing what their move are they coming over here, Brennan, just like you, when you're coaching your kids, watch them.
Eric.
And Eric, whenever you're coaching your kids, if it's a lefty, you don't have to get a big move, big lead. But what you can do is go on first movement, shorten up your lead. They don't think you're coming over there. And dude, as soon as that leg goes up, bam, you're gone. That's how we stole a lot of bases. But I got to tell y'all something else. Y'all are going to laugh at this. I know y'all, want to hear some funny stories. Okay. We had a guy named Scott Scruggs. He was our center fielder and he was fastest, white lightning, basically we called him. So he stole a lot of bases, in the Southland Conference who we played. And we played against La Tech, Stephen F. Austin, Sam Houston, UTA, all those kind of schools. Well, he was, and he probably set records. So one summer, you got to remember his name was Scruggs. and my name is Suges, which looks like Suggs. They used to always call me Suggs instead of
Suggs.
Suges. So we're playing in a summer league ball game, and we're playing a guy at first base that played at Stephen F. Austin, and he heard one of them announce my name, and he's going, and I got a hit and got on it first. He goes, dude, he goes, you're that fast guy who plays in North Texas? I go, yeah, I'm going to steal this base too. Watch me. So sure enough, I stole the very first pitch and ended up making it, not get, thrown out, come back around to him, got on base again. I looked at him and go, dude, that wasn't me. That was Scruggs, another guy. I said, I just had to tell you that because he had told the catcher, dude, pitch out the next time he gets on. He wasn't going to let me steal again.
That's some Ricky Henderson level confidence on that
Absolutely,
stolen base
that's
right
what I-
there.
I was gonna
I'm
say.
I'm stealing this first pitch.
Ricky Henderson used
gotta
to look at
go.
the first baseman and go, Ricky's
gotta
got to go. And then he'd take off and then he'd get the second and go, can't catch
Yeah.
Ricky.
So that was pretty funny. And then Skip played in, let me get to OU real fast. So Skip ended up playing Skip Johnson. Maybe one day I'll get him on the podcast for y'all. We'll see. It'd have to probably be after the season or something. But Skip played at Ranger Junior College, and then he transferred to North Texas my senior year in '88. So he had
Tell everybody who Skip is.
Skip Johnson is the OU baseball head coach. Yeah, sorry, we're on a podcast. So University of Oklahoma. Where's Brennan? How many years has it been since they've won the College World Series?
Let's see. pull it
27.
up.
27 years.
Not
Wow.
in any of our lifetimes.
He's even got a poster years since
He
Oklahoma.
came
Wow.
prepared.
That hurts, man. But so Skip came to North Texas in '88. So my last year, senior year, his junior year, and pitched for us. And Skip was a really good pitcher, got to pitch in a lot of games. Well, as soon as we dropped the program, North Texas did, because of the Title IX, where you have to have so many women's sports on scholarship, he had to go to Pan Am. So he played at Pan Am his last year, and then ended up being like an assistant grad coach down there. So one of the coaches down there said, dude, you need to go into baseball. You're a good mind, you're a good pitcher, you know what you're doing. So he ended up going to Navarro, and Skip was at Navarro for like 14 years as the head coach. And that's when he became, a really good pitching guru. And he was sending kids to different colleges, whether it's Texas or Rice. And that's where he kind of got his name. And then Augie Garrido, when he got that job, he called Skip and asked him to be the pitching coach. I remember Skip called me saying, dude, Texas wants me to be the pitching coach for him. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Take the job, go. He's like, yeah, but they have a house right here on campus. I don't have to pay anything for, and I'm like, dude, I don't
It's
care.
Texas.
It's Texas. You're going to get paid. So he was a pitching coach there for 10 years. I think they went to College World Series a couple times during his tenure. I don't think they won it, because they won it before he got there with Garrido. And then when Garrido, basically before he died, he retired. Skip was out of a job because they weren't going to give it to him, because they said he needed to have head coaching, on the D1 level. So Skip took the job at Oklahoma as the pitching coach. And the very next year, they ran off the head coach, who's now the K-State coach, which OU plays this coming weekend, Pete Hughes, and gave the job to Skip. So Skip's been there since, I think, 2018, I think was his first year. So 5 years. But that's my relationship with Skip Johnson there at OU. And that's why, I'm have an interest in how they perform, and going to a lot of games and supporting him as, one of my old teammates.
That explains Suges' love.
It was awesome to hear you
Yeah,
talk about
thanks
that
for
like,
coming on.
connection developed through the years. Are there any particular or like specific players you played with, or as teammates, or coaches you had that you keep in particularly close touch with, and that you'd say made a big difference in like your development as a baseball player?
Well, the biggest, Steve Smith had a lot on me from Baylor, which we talked about, just because when I was in high school, he was in the minors, and he married a girl from my high school. So he was doing some substitute teaching. So I kind of, me and him would go hit and pitch, and learned a lot of things from him. Then you've got, of course, Matt Williams. Everybody knows about Matty as a player, now. those were the two guys that really, made it big, other than, now Skip, which was later on, but
Who'd you model your game after?
who did I model my
Yeah,
game
who-
after?
You know who it is.
Third base. Well, everybody knows third base. I always thought I was George Brett from the Kansas City Royals. That's why I wore number 5 one year, because George Brett was,
Dingy.
where's
That was
do
a
you have
perfect
him?
timing.
What are you holding
There you
up?
go. George
It's
Brett.
George
George
Brett.
Brett's rookie card.
There you go.
I had George Brett and Robin Yount up today. That was lucky timing right there.
There
man.
you go. Awesome. But
Sick.
what was cool, now I didn't bat left-handed. That's why I made Austin bat left. And the reason I made Austin bat left is my dad used to always want me to be a switch hitter. And y'all got to be real careful about watching kids switch hit, because I've had a few kids that, these instructors will try to tell them, hey, you can be a switch hitter. And if it's not a natural swing, that kid doesn't need to switch hit, So Austin, I made him be a lefty because my dad always told me, dude, if you could have batted left, you'd have been 2 steps closer to first base. You'd probably beat out a lot more hits than, because you're hitting from the right side. Back when we played, there wasn't that many lefties. So you're going to see more righties. The ball's never going to break away from you. It's going to break in, but I just never felt comfortable. But
I was a
yeah.
switch hitter growing up.
were you? Did
Yeah.
you feel like you had power from one side more than the other, or not?
So in high school, like in middle school, I started switch hitting when I was in 5th grade, just because I could throw and hit with both hands, and all the way up until my freshman year I did. And then my freshman year they converted me to only a righty. And then all I did was bunt the whole time because I was so
bunted.
quick. Yeah. Because I'd hit gap shots, but I was so fast that I'd be a free guy on base. So
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
that, it was just a waste of time. So
I got you. But yeah, Travis, that's, those were the two, and here's the thing. I watched a lot of baseball, and, when I was coaching, I was trying to just, make sure, number one, the kids understood the fundamentals. And this is what you got to make sure. Some of you guys, I don't know if y'all are dads or fixed to be dads or coach, young kids, just try to
I
teach
hope
them the
I'm not a
fundamentals.
Nope, not anytime soon.
Give
It's
us
not-
about 4 or 5
But
years.
fundamentals is the
We'll
hardest
see.
thing, because those little kids, they don't, that all they want to do is just, get out there and goof around. But you got to tell them, hey, this is the proper way to field a ground ball, hands out, same with throwing a ball, pitcher, Travis, this, you got to tuck. I see a lot of kids don't understand how to tuck, and, their arm action just flies, and their parents and people wonder why they can't throw strikes. Then you go try to talk to them and tell them, it's the mechanics. Just like Tua, if you guys watch Tua throw a football from Miami Dolphins, lefty,
It's atrocious.
it is. It's not, it's like an outfielder trying to throw something instead of a shortstop. And that's why Dan Marino and those guys, those guys really excelled. Troy Aikman, because they threw like from right here from their ear, and they could just, that's why their accuracy was so good. But I like the question though.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Hey, I got a question for y'all now. Jowers has already told me number 2 is his favorite number. So number 5 was my favorite number growing up with, because of course, Johnny Bench wore number 5 too as a catcher. My brother was the catcher of the family. I like George Brett. So let's go, Travis. What was your favorite number? What did you wear and why?
Yeah, when I started playing baseball, I was number 1. I'm always, I feel like I'm trying to naturally be a leader. And for me, like in,
Yeah.
T-ball, like, oh, well, you'd be number 1. And then when I realized that I lacked the hand-eye coordination to hit capably anything faster than 80 miles an hour, people said that 1 wasn't exactly a pitcher's number. So I changed to 2 and did that for a while, and that didn't ran into the same issue. So when I made varsity the sophomore year, the number selection wasn't exactly the greatest. My favorite players growing up, it was tough because we were all growing up in the Dallas area, Ranger fans, and in the era we were growing up, right, it didn't feel like, at least to me, it didn't feel like there was a pitcher that was there for longer than 2 to 3 years. Like I remember getting excited when they signed Cliff
Oh,
Lee
yeah.
for that playoff run as a lefty. And then he was only there for, I think, that playoff run, maybe one more year, like very
Yeah.
little time.
You should have pulled out the old Nolan Ryan. He was pretty
Well,
consistent.
but then
34.
every pitcher, I feel
Yeah.
like 34 is
Yeah.
like a big, I don't want to put that pressure on myself.
Oh,
So
yeah.
then, then it went from Cliff Lee, right? The next one I remember is like, I got really excited when they signed Cole Hamels to that multi-year deal. And I love watching him pitch as a lefty. So I obviously gravitated towards left-handed pitchers that I could watch. So when I got on the team as a sophomore, 35 wasn't available, and 24 seemed like a good solid, like it's a good baseball number. Not a lot of pitchers like you think of when you think they're 24.
It's a clean number.
Yeah, it's a good, clean, solid
is.
number. I took it. I had a really good sophomore year as my perfect game year, and decided to run with it, for the rest of the high
That's
school
cool.
career.
Yeah,
And
because
then,
baseball is all numbers. We all
I
numbers.
actually did when I was, as you mentioned, the fall practice for Arizona or as UNLV. So, Georgia Tech, right, does the same thing. And when I was doing all the inter squads, I actually did get to wear 35, ironically.
Oh, cool.
That's super
Actually,
cool.
it might have been 34, actually, which was like, I don't know why
It was
nobody else is wearing.
34. It was
I don't know
34.
why nobody's wearing this number for this practice jersey, but that's my answer.
During T-ball, I think everybody's jerseys were their batting order.
That's why I thought
So
if you're
if you-
1 and 2,
Yankee
you got to bat
style.
first.
Yankees style.
So if you were 9, oh boy.
Hey, real quick before I forget this, because we got Eric on there, right? Texas Tech.
Yeah.
All right, Eric. So when you went to did you go to Yankee Stadium? Have you been to the new Yankee Stadium?
I went to the new one in 2019.
Okay. Well, when you're there, you and Jowers probably didn't do this, but they have like a museum wall inside that new park that has a bunch of baseballs that are signed, and you can push like put somebody's name in there, and it'll tell you where it is on this wall, so you can look up there and see what their signature looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I played against a Texas Tech guy, and his name was Mike Humphreys, and Austin played against his son, Zach, who played at TCU not too long ago. So I called Mike and said, dude, I said, your baseball's here at this new stadium, because it was like the first or second year and you signed it. He was really, he said, I wondered why they sent them a FedEx package with a baseball in it. All the Yankees, if you ever made it and he only played like for 2 or 3 months. He didn't play very long, but he made it to the show for the Yankees. So he had to sign the ball and put it back in that FedEx package that they gave him, so they could send it back to Yankee Stadium. So all those balls are displayed.
That's
That's
nuts.
so sick.
And he had no clue. He knew what they were kind of doing, but had no clue what it was going to look like. And I took all these pictures and sent it to him. So that's pretty cool. So if y'all ever get back, remember to kind of look
Go
through
through-
there, go
yeah,
through there. And if
yeah.
you ever know somebody that played there, find their signature and see what it looks like.
That's
That was
really
pretty
cool.
interesting.
Yeah, most of my playing years, I always wanted a number that nobody had, and in most travel ball teams, everyone wanted the number of their favorite player or something like that. So I went with the old original 00.
Oh, yes.
So I was 00 every year.
00.
The Gilbert
wow.
Arenas, I think.
We had in the Oilers, for the Houston Oilers, they had a wide receiver in the 70s named Kenny Burroughs that wore 00. That's the only 00 I ever knew. Well, now I know you.
Well, now you know
That's
two
cool.
famous 00s.
Eric
Brennan?
of podcasting Sackboy fame.
Yeah.
Brennan?
And come on, let's hear it.
So I always wore number 10.
Did you play baseball growing up, Brennan?
Yeah.
Yeah, 10's where he batted in the
God
line.
damn it! Didn't he play on the baseball field?
That's the
But
best.
Actually, I
Look at
batted
his own
Played baseball.
Spear
He
softball
tried.
leagues.
Charlie Rude. I batted
You were the
leadoff every fucking
double
year.
cleanup.
Yeah. I was always number 10 because my family took me to a Braves game way
Oh,
back
Chipper,
when.
old Chipper.
And
Chipper
good old
Jones. It's gotta
Oh,
be Chipper.
man, that's so cool.
Wow. Well, we knew 10 here, Michael Young, and then I think before that was Jim Sundberg. I think Sundberg wore 10 at Texas.
Yeah,
10's a
fun
good
fact, I
number.
never played third base ever in my life though. So
You didn't.
What did you play?
I played shortstop
you
and
played?
second. And I pitched, caught.
Nice.
in right field in the North Carolina Men's Baseball League.
Wasn't very
Fucking
good then, bro. I'll tell you that.
And outfield in the deployment softball team.
Deployment.
That's awesome.
I was nice in the outfit, in the softball team. Man.
Benji, what about you, man?
All right. Many can probably guess.
But it's got to be a single digit if you're a bunter.
Roberto Clemente.
21?
No, you would think that, but
Wait, yeah, wasn't
7.
Clemente
It's got to
24?
be 7.
no, Clemente was 21.
Thank you.
Giles
Yes,
is right.
yes.
It's number 7, baby.
Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle.
Big old Mickey. You can't even see it. Sorry.
Mr. Quick.
Big
I
old
like
Mickey
it.
Mantle.
Benji's holding up an
So-
autograph Mickey Mantle ball.
Yeah, autograph Mickey
Wow.
Mantle ball. Mickey Mantle was my favorite player. Roberto Clemente and Mantle are my 2 favorite. So I
Wow.
wore 7 growing up, and then the year that I couldn't get 7, I wore 24 because of Ken Griffey Jr. So my family, my
That's
mom's
sweet.
side of the family is all from the Bainbridge, Bremerton, and Tacoma area of Washington. So my grandpa was a big Seattle fan, and I grew up loving Ken Griffey Jr. And so I picked 24 the years I couldn't pick number 7. So it was 24 and 7 for me.
Well, you picked a good kid.
24/7.
You know, to be like, he was good. King
So-
Griffey, I'm telling you.
A little bit.
And Mantle's actually the reason Mantle's the reason I tried becoming a switch hitter.
Switch hitter. I
Yeah.
wondered that. I figured that.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, it's just, I mean, it's Mickey Mantle. You can't not love the guy.
Oh man.
Y'all got any more questions for old Dan?
Well, hold
Well,
on, Jowers. Tell us your
yeah.
number 2.
Oh,
Yeah, my number
on,
2.
Jowers.
It was just the first number that I had originally got when I started playing t-ball, and then I just kind of stuck with it forever. I think. I think it looks super clean on the back of a jersey, so I just kind of stuck with it.
Don't
And,
tell me
Derek
you're not a
Jeter.
cheater, are
No, I'm
you?
not. I'm
No,
not
no.
because
Stu just looks
because
clean too.
everybody thinks that he's the best shortstop to ever play, but he's statistically the worst defensive shortstop in the world, actually. And congrats, you got 300 hits, but you're still dog shit. So
3,000.
yeah, 3,000. Sorry.
Yeah. There's
He
a
got
lot of
3,000
people in the
hits.
300 hit club.
Yeah, there's a
out
lot
there.
of people in 300 hit. I'm not, but but
Show
yeah,
us
so
your jersey. Show
oh
us your
yeah,
jersey.
I got the Mets jersey. I got the Daryl Strawberry Cooperstown
Ooh.
Classic on. So
Oh yeah, okay.
Nice.
That's a
gotta
clean
go with a
jersey.
little throwback, you know.
I got the old Bryce Harper Phillies jersey.
I was gonna say you kind of look like Bryce Harper a little bit.
That's, thank you. I appreciate- you know,
Can
What
Cole
a
and-
compliment.
He
Danny,
actually does.
do not boost his ego any
Yeah.
more.
Telling you, those
No, he should-
videos, those videos of him. Remember when he was in Vegas as a high school
So,
kid?
I'll be
Woo,
honest, I got that a lot in high school.
I bet.
I got
I
that.
don't know
a
showed
how
lot.
me-
you're,
he showed
a little
me-
bit. You're a little bit bigger than.
Oh yeah,
Bryce, you know?
yeah.
Oh.
He's got about 5 inches on me, but hey man, no big deal.
Unfortunately, I
Hey,
guess
hey,
the
not where it
compliment
counts
of
though.
the
You're not
like
wrong.
looking like Bryce Harper is less of a compliment than the ball off the
Playing.
bat sounds like Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Awesome.
rocking
Tell
one
us
of his old teammates. It's Ryan Zimmerman Day out in out
Oh,
at the Dish
yeah.
in Virginia today. So I got the old Ryan
got
Zimmerman.
the
It
Nats
W.
is
jersey.
Ryan Zimmerman
Yeah.
Day.
Well, did y'all
Yeah.
know this? Matty Williams was the manager there for a few years.
Yes, he was.
You know it? Then he had to
Yeah.
go to Japan, coach over there
With
the Ja-
Shohei
with one of the
and
Japanese
Seiya.
teams when they, got rid of him.
Oh man.
All right,
Uh,
Austin.
I was basically number 5 my entire career up until high school.
Oh
I guess
wow,
my-
that's such a surprise.
my dad,
I
and
would put
then
him in
I
that.
guess now George Brett. Now that I think about it, it's because of him.
Weren't you
Big Lou-
21
hey,
in high
big
school?
Lou
Then?
Gehrig too. Lou Gehrig was number 5.
I
as
was
well.
20.
I was 20 in high school.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could have been 5, but that wasn't an option. So I thought 20 was the cleanest.
That's what they took.
Yep.
Brendan,
Hey,
I
but I
see
did-
that jersey you're
I'm-
rocking.
Oh, me. I got my Coppill Cowboy hat on. Can you see
Yeah,
that?
it's the Le Chien Brewery. You know, you guys are ever in Denton Springs, Louisiana, go hit them up.
Hey, before I do say goodbye to y'all, I do want to compliment you. I think this is a pretty cool deal that you guys got going. You know, I enjoy watching, the podcast,
Sack pod.
the ones with those coaches, that Oregon coach and
Yeah.
Evansville coach. That was pretty cool stuff, man. Y'all brought, the cool thing is y'all brought, a personal side out of those gentlemen. And it really, it was pretty cool to see because, as baseball coaches, they do have a a good personality that you can ask them those questions to bring out, because they're fun to be around. Now they are intense sometimes, and sometimes some of them don't want, any of that. They want to be more serious during the season, but it was cool that y'all were able to bring that out of them and let them tell you, things that other coaches I don't think would have told, some of those stories. That was pretty neat. But if there's any way, I'll try to see if Skip, I'm working on it, see if there's a way he can join y'all. I would definitely like to get Coach Smith. He used to coach at that Tennessee Tech. I don't know if y'all knew that.
That's
And then,
Suges, that's your
So
son's
that's how
team.
Sue just knows
The
about
Kings
it.
in Tennessee.
I did not know this
He
till
was
today.
Tennessee Tech, yeah. And then he's a scout, I think, for the Tigers, so Detroit Tigers. But Tennessee Tech does have a buddy of mine who played at North Texas. Their son, his name's John Gardino, and his son's name is Ryan. So Ryan Gardino, I want y'all to look him up. I swear to you, he keeps sending me these videos of him hitting home runs. And I think he hit 2 the other day, the game before that 3, and 2 the night before. I think he hit 7 or 8 bombs in a series.
That's Kevin Parada, player of the weekend
I know
material right
So
there.
y'all look him up, Ryan Gardino, and see if
We can get Ryan on the pod.
Yeah, maybe I'll
Yeah,
get
we-
Ryan on the pod.
Did
He has
he
a
play
Twitter.
at Wofford at some point?
I don't know. He's from Santa Barbara, California, and
Yeah,
Coach
he-
Smith is the one who recruited him to Tennessee Tech.
He went to
played at-
Wofford?
he played in Wofford in 2021.
Too early
Look
to
at-
talk about Wofford.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll get to that on
But
the
look
pod.
at, oh yeah, he did say, hey, one of the Auburn players, I will give you this though. One of the Auburn players told that team, because there are a lot of transfers in Tennessee team. He said, man, y'all are one of the best hitting teams that we've ever played against this year. He said, y'all could definitely, compete in the SEC hitting wise. Now pitching, and weren't they the ones that ended up beating Tennessee Tech, right?
They did. They
Yeah,
ended
in the
their
In
win
the
midweek.
streak.
midweek, yeah, in the
Yeah.
wood
Yeah.
bat game.
How crazy.
In the
Yeah,
wood
no.
bat, exactly. Yep. But
All right, Danny. Thanks
All
for
right,
coming on.
Danny. Yeah,
Thank you so much, Mr. Suge.
Thank you so
absolutely.
much.
enjoy.
We'll have you back on when OU makes a run at the tournament.
They won't.
Y'all
but
better put
Couple
them in your
years.
top 25.
No,
We'll see you next
no.
year.
Brennan, I am gonna send some voodoo doll after you. I'll send a bunch of dead crawfish to you
Whoa!
in 2 weeks if you do not put them in your top 25.
You know what's crazy? That's not the first time I've been threatened with a voodoo doll this week. So
Mr. Suge,
I
I
mean, I
resent
guess
the,
that's
I
what happens
resent
when
the
you live
fact
in
that
Louisiana.
you would imply that we're not journalists with integrity here. It can't be threatened, and the integrity of our rankings cannot be compromised by dead crawfish.
It can
All
only
right.
be compromised by alcohol.
All right, Dad.
Later.
Glad you came
Awesome.
once and then
Your
came
pod-
to talk to us 25 years later.